Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, and today's contract tip has to do with how do agents get paid. So we're going to talk about where the money comes from and what documents outline and specify all the money regarding agent commission, broker commission, seller paid commission, buyer paid commission, all of that, and where you can find that in those documents. So, first of all, I want you to think what is the document? What is the document that outlines how much you as an agent are going to get paid on any one transaction? I'll break it down even further. What is the document that describes how much you as an agent, if you are a listing agent representing a seller, or if you are a selling agent representing a buyer? What is the documentation that outlines how much you as an agent are going to get paid? Think about that for a second. Now, what is the documentation that outlines how much your broker is going to get paid? Now, what is the document that outlines or describes or goes into depth about where's all this money coming from? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. So, all the commission in a real estate transaction, generally speaking, there are always exceptions, but generally speaking, begins with the seller. And on the exclusive and non-exclusive listing agreement, the seller negotiates with the broker, the listing broker, how much total commission the seller is going to pay the listing broker. And so all of that is spelled out in the exclusive listing agreement, which is GAR Form F-110, and it is the RE form, RE-151, Exclusive Right to Sell Agreement. Now, on these forms, it does specify, let me go back and take a look at the form. On the actual listing agreements, in both the GAR, Georgia Association of REALTORS contracts, and the RE forms contracts, it does have a place where the seller agrees to pay the listing broker at closing the total amount of commission for that transaction. Again, generally speaking. And that's either expressed as a percentage of the sale price or a flat fee. Then it goes on to state that the broker, meaning the listing broker, agrees to pay a cooperating broker, if any, another percentage of the sale price. So obviously, the percentage that the listing broker is going to pay a cooperating selling broker is going to be a lesser amount than the seller is paying the listing broker. If the listing broker pays the selling broker the total amount the seller is paying, then the listing broker is working for nothing. So that is all described on the listing agreements in both contracts. And it goes on to state that, hang on, I'll tell you what it states. Specifically, that the broker shall share the commission, the total commission, with the cooperating broker, if any, who procures the buyer of the property by paying such cooperating broker at closing the percentage of the sale price of the property referenced or the flat fee referenced above, meaning where you fill in the blanks on paragraph A. In addition, cooperating brokers are expressly intended to be third-party beneficiaries under this agreement. So the listing agreement is where all the commission starts. When you sign a listing agreement when a seller chooses to be a client of the broker. Now, if a seller chooses to be a customer of the broker, then the seller would sign the authorization to show unlisted property. And in GAR, that form is F-107. And in the RE forms, it is RE-158, seller authorization to show property without a listing agreement. Now, in that document also, it does specifically have a place for the commission. And it says In the event that during the term of this agreement, the broker, pursuant to the above authorization, which is everything that you fill out and negotiate with a seller who wants to be your customer, if the broker procures a buyer ready, willing, and able to purchase the property at the price described above or any other price acceptable to the owner agrees to pay the broker at closing the following commission, and then it goes on to state that commission expressed either as a percent of the sale price or a flat fee. Okay, so that's where it all starts. Seller pays the listing broker. Listing broker agrees to cooperate with a selling broker, if there is one, and share the part of the total commission the seller is paying. Now, let's look at the buyer agreements, because there is a mention of commission in the buyer brokerage. So in the GAR form, that is the GAR F110 exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, and in the RE forms, that is form RE150 exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Now, it does talk about commission in the buyer brokerage agreement, and what it states in there is a place in paragraph A where you fill in the blank, and it says commission. Buyer agrees that the broker shall be entitled to the following commission at the closing of the transaction. And again, that commission is expressed as either a percentage of the sale price or a flat fee. Then there's another, that's paragraph 5A, and then 5B, it states, in the event the seller does not pay the broker the full amount of commission that was expressed in paragraph A, the buyer shall or shall not pay the broker the difference at closing between the broker's commission and the commission actually paid to the broker. Now, that is a little bit further explained in the corresponding paragraph in the GAR contract, and in the RE forms contract, it's explained within that paragraph. And basically what it says that while it is not required, the custom in Georgia is for the seller to pay the commissions of the real estate brokers. This obligation is usually created in a listing agreement between the seller and the listing broker. Generally, these agreements require the listing broker to share the commission it receives with the selling broker, working with or representing the buyer in the transaction. In the event the seller does not pay the broker the full amount of commission, the commission will be paid by the buyer as agreed upon in Section A. It goes on to say in the buyer brokerage agreement that if the buyer purchases a property being sold by owner, for sale by owner, without a broker, and the owner is unwilling to pay broker its commission at or before the closing, the buyer agrees to pay the broker its commission at or before closing. So that's expressed in the buyer brokerage agreements in both GAR contracts and the RE forms contract. There is another form that you work with that you would have a buyer sign to acknowledge if the buyer chooses to be a customer of your brokerage. And that is the GAR form is F116, and the RE form is, hang on one second, I'll tell you what the RE form is. It is RE159, acknowledgement of customer. Now, in those buyer customer forms, there is no mention of commission. Now, license law tells us that if there is not a brokerage agreement signed anywhere or nothing basically the parties must know who is responsible for compensation to the brokers prior to entering into an offer. So if you are working with a buyer customer and a seller customer, and the seller has not signed an authorization to show property that's not yet listed, that would be a situation where you would mention the commission in the actual purchase and sale agreement, working with both parties, your transaction broker working with both parties as customers, so everybody's on the same page as to acknowledgement of who is paying the brokerage's, who's compensating the brokers. Now, another thing I know you guys thought about are the instructions to the closing attorney. And in GAR, that is form 255. And in the RE forms, that is form RE 115, commission acknowledgement. Now, that form, when you look at that closely, that is exactly what the title is in GAR, Instructions to the Closing Attorney. And on that form, it states the total real estate commission to be paid by the seller is, again, whatever percent of the sale price or a flat fee. Then the next subparagraph says the listing broker agrees to share this commission with the selling broker by paying the selling broker the following amount. And again, it's a percentage of the purchase price or flat fee. So the listing broker, the first amount is the total amount the seller is paying, and the second amount is what portion of that the listing broker is sharing with the selling broker, if any. Again, that second amount is going to be smaller than the first amount. Now, there are other places on there where it talks about buyer paid commission per the buyer brokerage agreement that we just went over. And the parties that sign that, you guys as agents are signing, but you are signing as affiliated licensees. Whom are you affiliated with? Yes, the broker. So again, that is all broker commission. So we've talked about what form it is, where all the commission starts. That's the listing agreement and potentially the buyer brokerage agreement. How much, so, and then the commission instructions. So guess what, guys? All of that is how your brokers get paid. So all of that is public money, public commission to the brokers. So once again, how do you guys as agents get paid? I haven't brought it up yet. Yes, you are correct. It is through your independent contractor agreement. That is the document, that is the contract that you sign with your broker that outlines how much you as an agent get paid by your broker. All of the contracts, you guys are all affiliated licensees. You are all affiliated with your broker. All contracts are written in the name of your broker. Your listing agreements, your buyer brokerage agreements, those are all contracts in the name of your broker. So the only documentation regarding where you as an agent get paid for all of this hard work, amazing work that you guys do for the public is outlined in your independent contractor agreement or in a policy manual that is referenced in your independent contractor agreement. That's one of the many variables that you look at when choosing a broker with whom to hang your license. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because a lot of agents mistakenly think that the instructions to closing attorney outline how much they as an agent get paid. And no, that's how much your broker gets paid, which is important because your broker can't pay you if the broker doesn't get paid. Now, one more issue that comes up is what about the co-op fee that is mentioned in an MLS service? Well, there is an article by Seth Weissman, and it is back from 2001 at the advent of buyer brokerage. And basically, it states that listing a property in an MLS service does constitute a contractual offer to cooperate with all members of that MLS and to pay them a specified commission if they are the procuring cause of sale for that commission. However, if the property is not listed in an MLS, the financial basis upon which the selling broker, the broker and agent working with the buyer will be compensated, it needs to be worked out in advance. So that is something key to keep in mind with as an example for sale by owner, with a property that is quote unquote coming soon and not necessarily listed in an MLS service, with new construction that's not yet listed in an MLS service. So you agents working with buyers, one of the things that you need to take a look at, and I suggest as a piece of paperwork, is before you write an offer on behalf of a buyer, you definitely need to make sure that the listing broker is going to share the commission with your broker, the selling broker, so that you can get paid. Again, if it is an MLS service, that does constitute a contractual agreement. Nevertheless, you want to get that in writing. The MLS services are advertising, and there are typographical errors and mistakes. It depends on who within a brokerage is entering that information into the MLS service. Is it the agent themselves? Is it a listing admin person? Is it a listing secretary? Is it a virtual assistant? You don't know. So first of all, listing agents, once your property goes in an MLS service, double check it, verify it. Also, make sure to share a copy of that MLS printout with your sellers and get them to check off on it that everything is correct. You buyer's agents, when you are showing a property and there is a property your buyer's going to make an offer on, print out the MLS printouts from that property on that day you are making an offer. But better yet, use the instructions to closing attorney if it is in MLS. If it's not, or if you are unsure, or if there is verbiage about a variable rate commission, GAR has another form that you should all, you agents working with buyers, you selling agents, definitely want to take a look at. It is called the Co-op Commission Agreement to be used prior to showing. That is GAR form F258. There's not a similar form in the RE forms as of this point. And it is very similar to the instructions to closing attorney, but it is a form to use to avoid any misunderstanding about commission before you show a property or write an offer, especially if that property is not yet listed in an MLS service. And it's very similar. You identify the property, and it has a place that the commission being paid by the seller. We don't know what the total commission is. All it has on this form is the listing broker agrees to share the commission paid by the seller with the selling broker by paying the selling broker, and again, X percentage of the purchase price or a flat fee. So that way, a listing broker, if you are showing a property or writing an offer, you don't necessarily know how much the seller has agreed to pay the listing broker. This is just a confirmation signed by listing agent / broker and selling agent / broker, how much the listing broker is going to pay the selling broker. Again, once you go under contract, you definitely want those instructions to closing attorney, so the closing attorney can put both sides of the commission on the closing statement. So, I hope this video helped you out and explained a few things. And as we know, the commission, the gross commission that gets paid from a seller or from a buyer that goes to a broker, and even from a broker to you as the agent, gets divvied up a variety of ways. The MLS services get some. There's taxes that are paid on that. There are operating expenses, and there are a lot of fees that come out of that. So the gross commission that gets paid does get divvied up by brokers as well as agents for expenses to go about helping the public with their buying and selling needs. So thank you guys so much for watching. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum 1 Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education.